understand you if you want to go. Me and serve God regardless.
In this I be confident. That's a word from that song that you're listening to right now. He's a force to be reckoned with on and off stage. This morning, we'll dive into Perry's world, from being a social sciences guild representative to the newly elected guild president at UWI, to rocking the gospel music scene and captivating audiences on social media. Perry, in Christ, welcome to Sunrise. You know, let me say this quickly. Perry, in Christ, you are demonstrating boldly that you are representing Christ.
Yes.
So from them hear your name, they know what you're about.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you for being here.
Yes,
for those who don't know exactly what you're about, I'd love you to tell us a little bit about your story and why you're sitting here with us today.
Well, in all honesty, first of all, again, good morning to everybody, and thank you again for having me. Perry in Christ is really, it was really birthed from a place of young people wanting to see someone like them who is bold, as IT would have mentioned, just being really bold about what they believe in. Not many young persons in this day and age is willing to publicly testify as to what their stance is. We live in a time where the lines have become blurred for much of the part, and it's very important, it's vital that young people have examples to look up to as it relates to, you know, publicly defending and professing their faith. That's really what Perry in Christ is about. As you would have heard just now, I'm a gospel recording artist, and the sound is one that tends to attract young people, that youthful exuberance, that vibe. That's just a part of the ministry. Another aspect of it, I believe the Lord has been leading me in that direction, is the whole matter of advocacy, student leadership involvement, nation building. That is something that the Lord has been taking me through. And being the current Faculty of Social Sciences Guild representative at the UWI, I'm responsible for advocating for the largest faculty on campus. So it's not just about the spiritual needs of students now, but God can take you out of the four walls of a church and now say, hey, listen, Joseph was the prime minister of Egypt.
Yes.
David was a king. And so many other biblical characters have shown leadership skills even in the secular world. And as the current FSS rep, I would have been the bridge between administration and students as relates to academics, as relates to ensuring that they get a holistic experience as pelicans. Shout out to you, Imona. Shout out to the current guild and the incoming guild. I ran in the guild president election recently. It wasn't easy, but the students voted, and I am the guild president-elect.
Congratulations.
Now, thank you. What that really means now, my dear friends, is that a believer is at the helm of student leadership in the Caribbean. It's a regional thing.
Yes.
I humbly say that it's not going to be an easy task, but with Christ, all things are possible. I strongly believe in young people who believes in Christ to infiltrate spaces and to take up space.
You know, just answer the question I'm about to ask, because you said with Christ all things are possible, but I cannot help but wonder, with that full plate, social media influencer, guild president-elect, gospel recording artist, how you manage the different
how do you
roles?
balance that?
Yes, and to mention, I'm a student. I'm in my final year as undergrad, hoping to do my master's coming September. It's not easy to balance all of these things. I can't come here and act as if it is an easy thing. But when you have been called to something, I believe the Lord prepares you for it. He's not going to send you somewhere without preparing you. You know, before Jesus ascended into heaven, he laid hands on the 12 and he sent them out. He ensured that he imparted the gifts, the talents, the edification, everything that they would have needed to create an impact in society. He did that before he left. And I believe that the Lord has really called me into this thing here, and I believe he has equipped me accordingly. So while I ask for his help and continued guidance, while I listen to mentors and all of that, I believe he would have equipped me for such a time as this. So I lean on him, not really on myself.
And you speak confidently, articulately about these things. What, you know, the inspiration that you got for social issues in particular, where did it come from exactly?
It came from personal experience. And I just quickly share with you, I've been in a place where I couldn't always find my tuition to pay. I remember times where, and shout out to mommy and daddy, I remember in my very first year, they ensured that I went on a payment plan at UWI, just to ensure that I would get by, you know, paying tuition and all of that. And that's before I lived on campus. I was a commuter at the time. And when I saw how other students were not as fortunate to have a supportive system behind them, I said to myself, advocacy for me, it's not just to be in the public, but to actually bring real issues to real people and to, you know, ignite real change. And I'll just say this, the University of the West Indies is a government-funded institution, and an article released on the 29th of January since year, the headline was this: CARICOM governments cut funding from UWI by almost 15%. And I said, wow. In depth, the article goes on to say over the past 10 years, there has been a steady decrease in government funding to the universities. Now that is problematic. Students, prospective students, will not be able to afford tuition as before. And now the enrollment rate decreases. That's problematic as well. What does that say about students who want to pursue a higher level of learning? You understand what I'm saying? You know, Professor Robinson, the new principal at the UWI's open campus in Antigua and Barbuda, he said this in his induction ceremony, and I'm paraphrasing now. He said, if we are going to provide world-class education to Caribbean people, we must address this very shocking decrease, because what it does, it discourages persons from pursuing their dreams. What about that inner city youth who is brilliant in a particular field of study and he wants to pursue tertiary? He doesn't want to be in the statistic of being on the roadside, committing crimes, being a delinquent youth. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm appealing to the government. Please review the policies, the obligations that were set in stone before, and see how best you can increase funding to tuition again.
Love that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how people can, you know, follow you online so that we can learn more about how we can support you in your advocacy and all the amazing things that you're doing? I know you're on social media, so if you want to shout that out quickly, that'd be great. Definitely.
So on TikTok, where most persons would recognize me from, it's Perry in Christ. On Instagram, it's Perry Cummings Jr. JA. On YouTube, it's Perry in Christ Music. So on those three main platforms, you can get advocacy, music, and simple conversations just about societal issues and just really about what I'm passionate about.
It's been a blessing to hear you this morning. You're so eloquent and just so engaging, and I love that.
Passionate.
I'm so passionate, and we need that. So thank you so much for bringing all of you to this space right now today. So thank you for that, honestly. That was gospel artist and content creator Perry Cummings. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. On the other side of the break, it's time to get hooked on books in Sunrise Book Club. Stick and stay. Awesome.
Push me, I push